welcome back to another episode of Over the Glass. I am your host, Jay.
I'm Nessa. Today we have Nate. Is it Mata?
Yes, yeah, Nate Mata. How are you guys?
Good,
Good.
good.
I just realized your last name means like kill.
It does, yeah, it does. It actually took me a while to learn that myself. I don't speak Spanish, right? So it's a trip. I'm like, Hispanic. My dad's Mexican, born here in South Texas, but I didn't learn Spanish, so it was like maybe elementary school. They're like, "Yeah, your name means kill," and I'm like, "Oh, that's not great," but uh, it's a Spanish name like Spain or whatever, so all the connotations there. But yeah, my mom is she's from San Francisco. My parents met up there in San Jose. I was born over here. Housing prices are what they are, so we moved down here to Texas. And I've lived here since I was 6 or 7. But like I was telling you right before we hit record, Bay Area means a lot to me. It's close to my heart. My biggest tie is hockey, right? The Sharks live and breathe teal. I've loved the Sharks, since I was 5. They put me in, learn to play ice hockey the year before I moved out here. So I've always kept hockey close by, and for a long time I've been that guy that likes hockey in a place where, soccer is king, football is king, everything else but hockey. And I've always, been a hockey fan, and luckily I've found some other people that feel the same. There is some hockey here. It's a small group, but we work really hard to keep it alive and keep it thriving and growing.
Would you mind telling us how you identify? And you
Yeah,
already answered how you got into hockey, really, but
yeah, yeah.
just how you identify.
Of course. He, him. I'm you know, I guess you would say Afro Latino. I'm it's interesting, right? I am a political person. A lot of times that's a whole another side of me that I don't really get into much when I'm doing the hockey stuff. But and African in the diaspora, I guess you could say. My on my dad's side, Mexican American, and I'm a hockey fan, and I'm someone that loves the sport, and I think my identity is something that sometimes you put it on the back burner, but I never forget that it's a space that we have to carve out in this game of hockey. It's not always welcoming to folks like us. So, I don't always explicitly talk about it with the nonprofit that I run down here, but um, I was kept away from the game for financial reasons mostly. But
Mhm.
it is a space that we need more people like us to get into the sport, and it means a lot to me to try to grow the game. And when you see people that are non-white enjoying hockey, it's kind of rare. But we have a tribe that we're putting together of people that really care about the social aspects and the community aspects. So yeah, I think my identities of being a Black American, a Mexican American, being biracial, mixed, all that stuff, like it's crazy to then find yourself in the hockey space that sometimes doesn't always love you back. But down here where I live in the Rio Grande Valley, it's a border town, so I guess I'm kind of blessed in a way. It reminds me of San Jose sometimes. It's a mixing of people. It's not like you're in Minnesota and you stick out like a sore thumb. The only thing that kind of makes me stick out is not speaking Spanish, but I make it work, and I have a lot of fun doing this hockey stuff. So yeah, that's where my identities are.
It's interesting that you say you don't speak Spanish because the couple of words you snuck in there, you still have that accent as if
Oh
you
yeah,
do.
yeah. I mean, I don't speak it fluently. I could get by. I can order at a restaurant and stuff like that. Down here, you're gonna learn a little bit of it. Um, I'm not really like conversational. But I mean, I took 100 Spanish classes. I can, if someone asks me a question, I could kind of get by. I mean, it breaks my heart and it makes me angry because I wish I did know Spanish. It's not like I intentionally like said I don't want to do it. Not to call out my mom, but she was kind of that way, right? She's like, I don't want to learn Spanish. I don't need to learn Spanish. And my dad, who does speak Spanish, is like, all right, suit yourself. And I was like 5 at this time, and I was like, yeah, 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 I don't need it. And then I moved down here, and it's like, oh, whoops, like that's a big mistake. But no, it's a great place down here. It's like bicultural, right? Some people go back and forth between Mexico for school and work. They have family there. We're in this like border town where people talk about crime and violence, but it's really not that way. It's a beautiful, beautiful community. The people are nice. The people are friendly. So I love where I am here in the Rio Grande Valley. I live in a place called McAllen, Texas, Mission, Texas. It's not something that a lot of people in big cities like really know about. It's a bunch of small towns that make a pretty good sized region. But yeah, so I'm here, but I was born in San Jose, and that's why I'm here talking with Sharks fans because the Sharks mean a lot to me too.
It's so when I learned about you and the area that you currently are in, I was it's amusing to me because I spent some time in Texas,
Okay.
and while I was there, I had a girlfriend who was actually from that area.
Oh wow.
So I did visit when we were dating. We went down there
Okay.
for Thanksgiving. So I have a little bit of an experience. And when I found out that you are starting, well, you had RGV Roller down there, my
Yeah.
first thought was that is the last place I would have found hockey. Especially
Yeah.
because when I was dating my ex, I got her into hockey.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Huh.
I never heard anything from her about any sort of interest in hockey and anything like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the greater scope of Texas, it's football, it's
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you're not even like the small amount of Stars fans that I came across. It I still feel like the Sharks community is way bigger than what you would find in Texas in comparison to the love of hockey. So,
Yeah.
not to
Interesting.
get too much off on a tangent of that, but
That's a cool
the
tangent. So, if you don't mind me asking,
yeah,
where in the valley were they from?
the McAllen,
No way. Yeah,
yeah, it
it's a
just
world like that.
exactly where you are right now. I
Yeah,
visited
that,
that area. I mean, the little bit that I got to see, I was surprised to find out that there was a CHL hockey team down there. I mean, obviously, during the time when I was down there, I don't think RGV Roller had started yet. So it's just like a weird kind of like overlapping of how we kind of came together today, where I have a little bit of an experience of like the area that you're trying to build hockey in,
yeah,
and just like my feelings in terms of, you know,
yeah,
like what we talked about, being people of color, trying to grow, our representation within the sport, and just tying that back to like my experience going down there and thinking that is the last place I would find hockey. And so it's really cool that you and the rest of your board are doing that,
yeah,
because it's so far removed from, yes, Texas does have hockey, but it's incredibly far from where you are right now, and
correct.
it's competing with all the other sports that diehard Texans are following. So you really are going against the grain on top of being biracial. So I mean,
Wow, what a
there's a lot
trip.
of things we could talk about.
Yeah, yeah. No, that I didn't know that. I didn't expect for you to have any knowledge. I always feel like when you're talking to people from big cities, like
Hmm.
San Jose, New York, Chicago, all those places, you have to like draw a map. They're like, okay, Texas,
Yeah.
so you're close to Dallas. Like, no, we're 9 hours south of Dallas. We're 5 hours south of Austin, 4 hours south of San Antonio. There's like when you're driving down here from any part of the state, there's like an hour and a half of like nothingness before you reach the valley, and it's like this little enclave of Mexican American culture and all these border towns on both the U.S. side and the Mexico side that come together. Um, and yeah, hockey here. It's funny because our group, RGV Roller, like you said, we're relatively new, but hockey down here is not. And I don't want to say like we're the group that is trying to grow hockey the first time. The way I really see it, we're the group that's trying to like save hockey, right? Like the last stand for hockey in this area. Because I mean, I was born in '95, but there were guys playing roller hockey down here in the '90s, right? The Mighty Ducks came out, and a lot of people in our group were really influenced by the Mighty Ducks. All these people hit the streets on the U.S. side, on the Mexico side. They would play hockey. They would play in rollerblades, and that was kind of hockey for a while. And then the late '90s come along, um, and there was some guys actually that moved down from Canada, like Toronto-based guy. He came down here. He was a banker, and he wanted his kids to be able to play hockey. So he lobbied for a while to try to get that CHL team that you're talking about to come down here. And in 2003, which was actually 1 year after I moved down here, that team was born, called the Rio Grande Valley Killer Bees, and that team was super cool. So in 2003, a lot of people that had no idea about hockey in this area were exposed to hockey. We had a team down here. It was ice hockey. It was super cool. Like it came with the junior Killer Bees, kids that are whatever age from 5 up to 18, playing hockey, involved with ice hockey. Around that same time in 2005, they built this roller hockey rink that we use today. So hockey had this huge, like, out of nowhere. It went from playing at the roller rinks and at parks to there's an ice hockey team, there's a practice ice hockey rink and a roller hockey rink. So we just like flooded hockey and Texas hockey. I think that was probably the peak of it because all these small towns like Laredo and Corpus Christi, Austin, San Antonio, they all had these minor league teams that would play against each other. So in the mid 2000s, hockey really had like something going on down here. Of course, that didn't last forever. These teams started to fold as the 2010s came along. Um, and this whole time, like, I'm still enjoying hockey, watching the Sharks, buying NHL, the video game. But when I asked my parents to play, they're like, "Oh, there's no way. It's $300-400 a season. You have a brother and a sister." So I'd play street hockey with some friends. And I mean, it was sad, but it didn't like shake me to my core, right? I figured it out. I play basketball, I play baseball, every other sport. Um, I always wish I could play, right? I wish I could play on a team, an organized team in a league, but I never had that. Just from the financial constraint. And like I said, it didn't like I was okay, right? It was fine. But as I got older, I'm like, damn, I wish I could play hockey. Like I'm here struggling on JV baseball. Like I wish I was playing hockey because that's my passion. I love it. So when I got a little bit older, I got all the gear together. Um, when I was in the college, I started to buy my own stuff, and I'd go play ice hockey. I wasn't that good. I knew how to skate, right? I'd go to the ice rink and public skate, but it's hard, right? Hockey's not an easy sport. And then I kind of got involved with the roller guys, which I think was kind of what I needed because it was more chill, less expensive. The gear is a little bit easier to get into. So I don't know, 2018, I started to get more consistent playing roller hockey, and it was less than a beer league. It was just like they rent the rink and skate around, and I was like, man, something's missing here, right? Like, where's the youth program? Because I know on ice hockey, the youth program was like $3.99 a season. And if you're playing travel hockey, the prices go up. And $3.99 is cheap if you go around the country, but still in this area, it's economically challenged, and a lot of people were priced out of the sport. So the brainchild started to grow little by little. I had some other friends that they weren't like diehard hockey fans, but they wanted to dip their toes into it, and that was kind of where my focus came, like just growing the game, growing the sport. And this was before I really got involved with like learning what the hockey was is for everyone program was all about. So it was just like, hey, let me try to do this with some friends. I got with some people that wanted to get into the game, and then some people that were already involved in the roller hockey and ice hockey scene. We put together a board of directors, and we went the nonprofit route just so we can get a better deal with our city's Parks and Rec department. And it was born that way, and it's been a lot of work over the last 3-4 years. But fast forward to the pandemic and COVID, the ice rink closed. The ice hockey team had already folded by then. So when I say it's the last stand, like if you want to play hockey in the valley, you got to do it with us because there's just not a lot of other options. There's no ice hockey unless you drive up to San Antonio. So yeah, the nonprofit is really special to not just me but a lot of people. And some people they don't really care for the whole like nonprofit umbrella and stuff, but it's like, hey, we're doing this for y'all. We're doing this to make sure kids have a place, that the adult league has some structure to it. If you want to play travel hockey, we're trying to do that for kids and adults. And of course, what's really special to me is like those learn to skate and learn to play type of events, and just getting people into the game, like getting the hooks in people and not letting go. Because believe it or not, even though hockey is not like a big deal down here, if you give a kid a stick and a puck, and they'll have fun, right? It's not like it's this like foreign thing that you need to have like your brain wired different. It's just fun, and I think that once the NHL like and hockey understands, it's not rocket science. Just give a kid a puck, make it cheap, let any family like access it, and the game will get a much bigger reach than it has in this like super elitist sense that it's had for so long. So I don't want to say we have the secret sauce or anything like that because I don't think it's that hard, but I really love what we do. We have a lot of families that like are brand new to the sport and their kids love it, and now they're signing up for the next season before our current season is done, and you know their parents now they want to play. So we try to have something for everyone. You know, beginner adults, beginner kids, you know, intermediate, advanced. Like we want to catch everybody that wants to play hockey and even people that just want to skate, right? We're kind of a roller skating also organization. Just like maybe we get a roller skater that wants to play hockey, and we grow our numbers that way. But I think it's a lot of fun. It's a blast, and yeah, you know, hockey isn't the biggest sport down here. You every time I see someone in the Stars jersey, I go out of my way to tell them, hey, you like hockey? Like we got this thing going on. It's cool because yeah, you're like a unicorn if you like hockey down here, but little by little, I think we're getting a little bit more of the market share, and we're getting some people that might be playing basketball, baseball, football to, hey, you want a second sport that you know is kind of fun, and we're doing it that way. So it's a blast. I don't do it alone, but I've been at the head of it for a while because it means a lot to me, and I want something that I didn't have when I was a kid for the kids in our program, and I think we're slowly but surely accomplishing that, and it's growing every day, and it's a blast. I mean, it's not my full time or anything, but all of my free time is spent thinking about how to make us better and about hockey. So yeah, it's like my passion in every way.
Couldn't tell at all. You blew right through. You're. We have all these questions lined up to ask you, and you like blew right through all of them.
Oh no,
And no,
yeah.
no, that's
Oh,
totally
I get
fine. I mean, a lot of it was it's mostly what would relate to, you know, your not the nonprofit that you're a part of, why you continue doing what you do. I mean, it's no secret that you love this sport so much, and I it a lot of things that you said is related to why me and Nessa started the podcast because
yeah,
it's frustrating to see that there are people of color who love this sport but you know come from areas where it is a very expensive sport
yeah,
and you I think it's great what you all have accomplished down there but it could be so much more if bigger organizations would come in and show not so much during like a certain time of the year, you know, when they say, "Hey, we're going to celebrate people because it's, you know, Black
Hispanic Heritage
History
Month,
Month,
Asian,
whatever
Asian
whatever the
Pacific Islander
title
Month. Yeah,
is, and
yeah,
then they do the thing and then we have to wait for a whole calendar year to go by before they consider what ways can we do XYZ. It's like no, it doesn't stop after that month is over. You can continue to do that with every, you know, organization or community that you know you say you care about but it you know at a certain point you start wondering well do you only care because for the business standpoint or do you actually care and are actively trying to find ways to grow the sport and right now it's always a struggle to figure out whether they're progressing in the direction that we want them to be, where they actually do care about the communities that they're
yeah.
talking about. And I mean, we don't know as far as like what organizations may or may not have reached out to you, but right off the top of my head, I mean, given that the Dallas Stars are right there in Texas, it's like they could show up and say, hey, we'd like to pour in some money. And I'd imagine there are avenues where I think one of the interviews that I watched prior to us chatting with you today, I think it was with Black Girl Hockey Club. I think
Yeah.
it was their This was about like 2 years ago, right, where
Yeah.
you talked
Yep.
to Renee.
Hmm.
And you were mentioning something about wanting to have skate rentals because, yeah, well, you can play floor hockey and maybe you can, borrow your skates from your next door neighbor or whatever. But how how much easier would it be if folks are just stopping by interested and you'd be like, hey, you want to come join us, and immediately give them a pair of skates, give them everything that they need to just get going to try it out, and not be
Yeah.
like, well, you can only join us if you have XYZ.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you don't, too bad, sorry, you're gonna have to come back when you have all this stuff. It's so much easier to just have that accessibility to allow folks to instantly come into the sport. And so I guess I'm kind of wondering, where are you in that hope of getting something like an ability to rent out skates or any other kind of thing that you hope to
Yeah.
help build what you
Yeah.
already started?
Yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head of like where I wish it could be, and there is still a gap between honestly the brainchild of this and what we're doing. There is still kind of a little bit of separation. I mean, we're doing a lot of leagues, and the leagues are fun, and we're welcoming a lot of more kids. But yeah, I do wish we could have a lot more of just that like outreach and having gear available. The one thing I have like a million of is sticks, right? You need a stick, go ahead. But yeah, people ask for skates and pads and helmets and um it's I feel like it's in between, like it's gonna happen and like when is it gonna happen? Because yeah, that was 2 years ago. We've definitely hit those like preliminary talks. Like stars know who we are. The NHL knows who we are. Like and I was like mind blown when someone from the National Hockey League and the Dallas Stars reached out to us and started those conversations. And it's like whoa, like they see us, but it's just making like following it all the way towards the end. And I think that it's kind of a twofold thing of like I think our nonprofit is like kind of on the precipice of like really getting big. Like I think if the NHL said here's a bunch of gear and we would be like oh man like where are we gonna put this? Like we're still trying to find our storage unit and stuff because my Honda Accord was the storage unit for a while, right? Like I had all of the sticks, all of the pucks. My partner is like, why do we have so much hockey stuff? I thought we were gonna get a storage unit, right? So I mean, I've definitely used a lot of my personal space, and I'm not the only one. Like there's a lot of coaches in our league that their garages are jam packed. But yeah, I mean, when we talk to the Stars or we talk to the league, we even talked to Bauer at one point. I don't know what the process is. I've never done this before, right? Like I am just like a not a kid, right? I'm a young adult that really, really likes this, and I'm like, what do I need to do here? And I'm lucky that I've ran into a mentor or two. With that interview with Renee, she really opened some doors. Other people reach out to us. Mozine Hasham at Hockey for Youth up in Canada, he's like a really big advocate for what we do, and I got invited to a summit at the beginning of January when they retired Willie O'Ree's number in Boston, and I got that invite, and so many like league officials were there. I met Gary Bettman. I met Kim Davis, who is their I don't know VP of social growth and advancement. So it's like they see us, but I don't know what's next, right? Like I really don't. Like, are we supposed to expect pallets of stuff? Is it grants? Is it am I not doing enough? And I mean, I know I'm doing a lot, but I spend a lot of time like with the rink, at the rink, with the kids. So it's like, should I be doing more on the whole like emailing side? Like I am sometimes I feel like a fish out of water, and sometimes I feel like we're doing it. And our VP, he always says like organic growth because imagine if we just got handed a whole bunch of cash, like what do we do then, right? So it's definitely a process, and I am patient. I am in it for I guess you would say the long haul. I'm not trying to just let's get all our gear within 3 years and then we're set. Like no, I want to establish relationships with these people because I want them to know that um, we do have like we're trying to put in these like strategic long term goals so we could see where we are in 3 to 5 years because it's a process and there's definitely an aspect of burnout if you're not careful. Some of our fellow board members, they started to get a new full time job and they're like, whoa, like I don't know how much I could dedicate to this and I don't think that's going to happen to me, but at the same time it does need to be like this slow, measured process, because these people that work in these like grassroots hockey programs, they put the weight of their communities on their backs. I mean, I've met, people, I've networked with these people, and it is common to have, your whole organization in your car in a little shed. And it would be nice to have, these big organizations that are worth, billions with a B, to come out and just help us along the way, right? Help us carry that load, because I guess if you're in the Dallas area, we're talking about the Stars. A lot of those communities in those areas, they do get a lot of help from the Stars. They'll build them, floor hockey courts, and they'll come to their elementary schools. Because we're so far away, we kind of know like maybe that won't happen. But like in the summer, it's like come out to a camp. If they brought an NHL player, like how cool would that be for our kids to meet them? And I mean, I am grateful that the Stars know about us. We've had good conversations. I've talked to Mr. Al Montoya. I know that they see us, and I think it's just a process of like how do we do it the best way? Because I mean, we do roller hockey. We don't have ice. They can't send us ice skates with blades. I mean, we would need roller skates. Do they have the infrastructure to do that? Maybe not yet. Maybe it needs to get built out, because um, I think the hockey world is still just now understanding, wait, we should do this street hockey stuff. We should do this roller hockey stuff, because if we only push our ice hockey programs, we're leaving gaps. And I think we want to fill those gaps. And I think we're in a situation that we're probably in the right place at the right time, because I know, from the conversations I've been in on, the league is going to take some steps towards non-conventional hockey. I mean, yes, they're in non-conventional markets, Arizona, Florida, Texas, California, but now it's like the second layer of that is, what about that kid that only has a stick and only has a ball? They don't know what a forecheck is. They don't have access to an ice rink, but they still are potential fans of the game. And you talked about the business aspect. They are potential consumers of your product. They might eventually spend all this cash if you just listen to the grassroots, right? Listen to what folks like me are saying, because I mean, I am a student of this stuff. Like, I am a student of the game. It's like, okay, I like hockey. I understand like strategy, but it's like, how can the league get better, right? Like, what can we do? Like, sometimes I feel like I'm doing, the job that they need to be doing, and like, look at us, like, shine the light of what we're doing. And yeah, we've had some articles written about us, but invite us into your meetings and talk to us. And I do think good things are coming. I mean, there's some meetings that I've been a part of that are really exciting, that I know it might not be the happen in a couple weeks. It might be a year, a couple years, but I think change is coming, and I don't want to get too optimistic, because the league and hockey has disappointed us before. I know on a weekly basis you get on Twitter and it's like, man, why do I like this sport? And it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It breaks my heart. But when
Preaching
I
to the
when
choir.
yeah, right. And when we have these conversations with each other, we understand it. So yeah, I don't know when it's gonna happen. I know that my hands are so tied. Like like, to be honest, I forgot about our interview today, because I was at the rink at 9. I got off at 11. I got to go back at 6. I was there yesterday from 1 to 5. I'm there on Tuesdays, Thursdays. This is it's a job that I don't get paid for at this moment in time, and I think people like us, we could use, grants or ambassador programs. Like, let us do the work that it takes to grow the sport, because I'll happily do it. How long will I happily do it for free? I don't know. I mean, I would love. I see it down the road at one point that, yeah, this could be, that full time day job. But right now, if someone gives us $1,000, 2,000, 5,000, it's going into pucks and sticks. It's not going into my pocket. Like, I got a job, and I'm fine with that. Like, I understand that this work is, nobody asked me to start a nonprofit. I did it on my own volition. So one day I think we could get there. But yeah, the league is listening. We're still here. We'd love to keep chatting. We have some ideas, and I think if this can get implemented coast to coast, Canada, Mexico. I mean, man, if you get on Twitter, they're playing roller hockey in Uganda and Kenya, all over the world. Like, people like this sport. It doesn't have to be only in North America. People that buy tickets, it's people that just like hockey with a capital H, and I think we're gonna get there. I always tell myself, like, I think we're gonna get there, because if I told myself it's never gonna happen, that's discouraging. So I try to put a positive spin on it, even though there's a lot of like man, what's going on? How do we make it happen? But yeah, I mean those mentors like Mo is someone I really look at because his program in Canada, they welcome immigrants that might come from war torn countries and give them skates and teach them the game. And hockey can be more than just the puck. It can be those social and emotional learning type of things to get this game into more people that might not be trying to go junior and pro. Like, I think that's where the league is really missing out. Like, there's people that might not go pro. They just want to have fun, right? Like, that's my thing with the nonprofit. I'm not that great at playing. I play in the adult league and I've been on some good teams, but I am just trying to have fun. If it's not fun, what are you doing, right? If these kids are getting drilled to the ground, it's like, what's the difference between that and these super expensive soccer leagues that we have down here, where these kids at 7 or 8 years old are going too hard, they're gonna get burned out, they're not gonna enjoy it, right? Like, I'm a fun person, I love it, so I think I bring like an attitude that's really important because if you're only super competitive, that's how you get these. Honestly, I think that's where these like abuse scandals come from, right? These players are so good, but then they do something shitty on the side, but then the team only cares about the product on the ice and not about the product in the locker room. So then you get these assault cases that Hockey Canada covers up. It's like, if you put competition above everything, you're only going to have the people that can afford to pay for these trainings, right? So preaching to the choir, I'm sure, but I mean, the mentality needs to change, like from the floor up, right? Like, I don't know. I need to be the commissioner of the league. We'll have some more people that look like us making a difference,
I
and
would love that.
right. But yeah,
I
no.
Some
And
of
mean,
those
go
some of
ahead.
those frustrations you're talking about, like knowing that the league sees you, but like, what are they doing to help grow the sport? Because you're like 9 hours away. Even here in the Bay Area, we're feeling that. Like the Bay Area is obviously smaller than what you're talking about.
Mhm.
But I grew up an out. I'm an hour away from San Jose, and I barely hear about hockey. I learned about it because my girlfriend from New York grew up knowing a little bit more about it than I did because she was close to Canada.
Okay.
She had friends who played in high school. She came out here and she was like, "Hey, I've been wanting to get into sport more." Turned on the TV. The Sharks were playing in the playoffs. I'm like, "Sure, can you explain to me how this game works?"
Yeah.
And then like I fell in love with the sport that way. I would have loved to know that this was something like I would have loved to get into it when I was younger. Like I was a very sporty person growing up. Like I was in all the sports. I did soccer, volleyball, I did martial arts, whatever. I loved it. I would have loved to play hockey growing up. It would have been awesome, but like it's like they don't it seems like they put more focus on the city that they are located in and not so much on the cities outside because the closest rink to me, I think, is in Oakland. That's like 20 minutes.
you might be closer to the Vacaville one.
Vacaville is also like 40 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
can do a race. Figure out
Oakland's
which was
Oakland's closer.
closer.
It depends if there's traffic, if it's rush hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have a traffic issue over there for sure.
Mm.
You guys have a traffic issue in Texas.
We do. Yeah, we're not ready for the growth that's coming either. Like, a lot of people are actually moving from California out this way, and
Oh, I
like
know.
Austin is a very very awful place to drive in, and even where we're at, like it's growing at a pretty good rate. So, yeah, and yeah, what you said, like, where are these outreach programs, right? Why this sport just I feel like the powers that be in hockey just expect people to come to it. It almost feels like, I don't know, like hockey feels like they're so good. Like, oh, we don't need to tell people about the sport. You're gonna find the sport. You're gonna learn it on your own. You're gonna love it. And if you don't, then we don't want you. And it's like, you put yourself in the shoes of these people that are trying to make the league more valuable, right? If you're in the NHL office, don't you want more people to find the sport in other ways? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand, like when I was growing up, when the NHL stopped being on like ESPN, and then it went to like Outdoor Life Network. Like, I'm sure if you guys might be a little bit newer to the sport, you don't know like the struggles that watching hockey was. Like, it went from being on a cable package that was easy to find too much harder to find. So now that it's on, ESPN, like that's cool, but it's an afterthought, right? Hockey is like so far below all the other sports, and I think the reason is affordability, right? You can throw out a soccer ball, and that's easy to do. You just need some grass. Throw out a basketball. Well, there's a hoops on every corner, and I know in Canada it is a little bit different, right? There's rinks all over the place. The municipalities put money into it, so if it's not the municipalities doing it, then the leagues need to fill that gap, and the stars and the NHL itself need to go into communities and, okay, this is a basketball court. Well, how do we get some nets out here? How do we just like flood flood communities with hockey, right? Like I walk around with sticks in my car, and it's like I feel like I just want to pass them out, right? And you just need access, right? It's not that hard. Like I said earlier, it's not that hard. Give people a chance to do it, and they'll love it. And I think we've seen a lot of that in RGV Roller. I mean, people that are like, I know how to skate, but I don't know how to play hockey. Well, within a couple weeks, they get the concept of hockey. Or the kids that don't know how to skate, but they have an interest in hockey, they enjoy it. They love it. And I'm like, my partner yesterday, she's like, you should be so proud of yourself. And I'm like, well, yeah, I am. But, the work isn't done, right? We went from having 32 kids in the spring to 55 in the fall, which is awesome, right? Like, the numbers here somewhere else, they might not look like anything, but we went from having 0 kids when we first started, right? There was no roller hockey program. And I know that if we just stay the course, those numbers are gonna, double, double, double. But then my head is like, okay, well, how are we gonna staff these coaches? And like, man, it's a lot that I have to think about. Like it is, I didn't know a nonprofit was like this. Like, man, I did not know what I was getting myself into. I was just like, well, we could just throw out the puck and then play, right? Like insurance, taxes, bank accounts. It's like, oh my gosh, I started a business, right? Like a nonprofit is a business that doesn't get. I mean, you have to make revenue, right? You have to make more than you spend, or else it's not going to work out. You just can't be like profiting, right? And you couldn't pay your employees, but they have to be, working towards it. So yeah, I think we're gonna grow like massively. We need consultants. Like, what am I doing out here? Like, oh my god, I just want to play hockey. But it's worth it, and it takes people like us at the grassroots level to get to someone like Nessa that didn't have a chance to play, right? If someone like us doesn't do it, well, we have seen that the league won't until someone like me gets to that level and starts to sound these alarms. It takes people that didn't get it to push it, right? Even when I made our board of directors, I said we can't have 5 people that played hockey their whole life running this org, because then they're just going to replicate the issue. We need people that couldn't play hockey and really wanted to be on the board to say, hey, that's a good idea, but as someone that couldn't do it, let's try this. Or we can't have all dudes on there, because then women that are like, hey, this isn't inclusive. You guys are talking about stuff that I don't like to hear. This doesn't feel like a welcoming space. Or and that's some issues that our group even has had. I'm like, wait, we need to let the women speak up, or else it's just going to replicate some of these misogynistic problems that the league has. We need all sorts of different voices, because you can't just have them like tokenized as like, oh, well, we have a woman and look, she's playing hockey, we'll take a picture of her in her pink gear. It's like, no, we need to listen to those issues, or else we're going to replicate those same issues. Like, and you always need to be striving to get better, right? Like our nonprofit, proud of it, proud of it, proud of it. But if someone has a complaint, I'm gonna listen to it, right? I'm not just gonna put on the blinders. Well, look what Nate's doing. This an organization's so good. It's like, no, if someone has a complaint, if a parent didn't like something that happened, well, we need to listen, or else we're not doing our community service, right? Like, we're a nonprofit. We have a tax status that says we're charitable, so we better get out there and give away gear, or else we're just making leagues. What's the difference in the Boys and Girls Club or AAU? Like, we have to always get better, and I think that's like a big part of me. Like, we'll have a good weekend. I'm like, all right, that was good. Like, what else can we do? Like, I'm not a perfectionist, but it's like I don't want to get satisfied, or else we could fall into issues. So yeah, we always got to be getting better, right? As people, like that battle to always be better, and that's what I think the organization does too, because it's an uphill battle, right? And we have to be equipped, or else we might, I don't know, lose out to soccer down here. I mean, there's so many soccer leagues down here. We're right in the border with Mexico. There are leagues galore. So we're fighting with parents like, oh, my kid's playing soccer. I don't want him to get hurt. Well, did you know that if your kid plays multiple sports, they're going to become a better soccer player? Oh, yeah, good point. And then we get some of the soccer players. So yeah, no, I'm trying to attack this thing from all angles because it feels like hockey's on the line down here. We got pickleball. I don't know if you guys know about pickleball. Pickleball started to use our courts, and everyone like panicked, right? Well, what if pickleball gets so big and they kick us out? So we're trying to befriend the pickleball people so we could make sure we still got our rink.
Wow, that sounds exhausting.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially for anyone that's like my friend and they have to hear me talk about hockey all the time. They're like, "Oh my god, please stop."
Dude,
Um,
we're all cut from the same cloth. I mean, so much of what you mentioned. I mean, we could talk for hours about so many things that you brought up. I mean, even in the heart of where the Sharks play, I mean, I work in this city and I compete with conversations of folks with, the 49ers and the Giants and all that stuff. And then every now and then someone will come up to me and ask me about hockey. And the moment someone, it's almost like a trigger on me
Make you
with
perk up
someone,
and you're like, oh,
you're like,
hockey
yeah,
fan.
you're
yeah,
asking me a question about hockey, and over the last couple of years, I've started realizing that I ramble way too much because it's the passion that comes out of me. And at a certain point, I catch myself now, and I'm like, I'm sorry, did I answer your question? Do you want me to keep going? Because I
yeah,
realize that at a certain point, I'm like, oh man, you are way overwhelmed with what I just said. You just
mhm,
asked me like the goalie who played last night because you flipped to a channel and you were
yeah,
just curious. You didn't want to know the whole history of the Sharks. I'm so sorry,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's the things you talked about with struggles because you are biracial, you want to see more folks getting into the sport, or even the folks who do, you want to make it easier than what you experienced when you were growing up because you had this burning desire to get into the sport, and every turn along the way it was another door closed. And
yeah,
I really admire your perseverance to because of your passion and your dedication to grow the sport, especially in a community that you are competing with soccer and potentially pickleball. Like,
yeah,
and when you mention how, yeah, you have gotten contacted by certain folks in prominent positions where they could just. I don't understand why they haven't done it yet. I don't understand why the stars haven't just been send you X amount of dollars to just help you with the few things you have on your plate.
yeah,
But then there's also the other side to the coin where it's frustrating that folks like us have to push this along. And, even in situations where we have all these ideas, why are people not just taking us up on it? It feels like there's too many people that even though they celebrate the different, heritage months or, Pride Month and all that stuff, it still feels like the wrong people are driving the bus.
oh
I
yeah,
don't understand why the person who isn't even in that community, oh, but I have a friend who has a friend who told me this would be a good idea. Well, get the friend of the friend who told you about that idea and get their butt in here and let them do it. I
yeah,
don't understand why it needs to be someone who you've vetted through and hired onto your, into within your organization to do it. Like, grow the sport by interacting with your local community. Like, it's always this struggle that I see where I feel like at the end of the day it's still just about money.
yeah, oh yeah. It's
And it's like, do you want to grow the sport and yet you're like, yeah, but I'm not sure if we should be investing in this thing. It's like, then the sport is never going to grow in the communities that, you're showing you care about. And
yeah,
it's so frustrating.
yeah. No, it's tough. It's tough because I mean, it does feel like sometimes when we talk to each other, we have all the answers. No, like the three of us, we'll make it happen, right? It's like I just don't understand why it just feels like. it's maybe it's the hiring process, right? Like the people at the league that I've talked to, it's been a black woman, and her team, and it seems like they're making headway, right? And it's like, hey, there's the answer right there. Look at who are actually making those changes. It's people in these groups, and yeah, like you said, it's unfortunate that we have to do the heavy lifting of, like we heard a racist comment, and then we have to explain to somebody why that's bad. It's like the emotional labor, right, of what's on the backs of people. But if people are willing to do it, it's like, damn, like that's someone that's valuable. And I mean, I'm not naive. I understand that money talks, whatever. But the problem that you mentioned in San Jose is the same problem that we have in the Valley. Is the same problem that I think a lot of these pro teams have. Is like they want to win, they want to win championships, right? But they also want to be profitable. So I guess the community outlook thing is like so far at the bottom because I don't know, it's not profitable. It's the charitable arm of the company, whatever, whatever. But wouldn't it make a lot of sense if you get into the community, they become lifelong fans, they spend money, whatever? Like there still is money on the back end. Like it's not like we're just asking to throw away money. Like I would love if the Stars would invite us to a game, we bring our kids, you experience the sport. But I mean, those kids are going to be lifelong fans. They're going to have Jamie Benn jerseys. Klingberg, he moved. They're going to be fans
Pavelski,
of the
he,
team. Oh
Actually,
my
they
god.
should wear Robertson whenever they give him a
oh
damn
yeah,
contract. How
Yeah, I
is
know.
Robertson
how
would
is
not.
how where is his contract?
I know what's going on. I like to think of myself as a Stars fan second. I mean, it was interesting to see Pavs out here, but talking about San Jose and how tough it is to get the Sharks, on people's radars. Because when I was there, when the team was good, I went to a game a couple years after they're in the Cup final. It was on people's tongues, right? When the Sharks are good, people care. Now the Sharks are kind of on a down part of their franchise. That's fine, rebuilding. But I'm sure those people are sweating, right? We're not that good. We're not that relevant. Well, that's when you get in your community. You don't have to be a great team in the Cup final for people to be playing hockey. You can go play hockey in the street if your team is in last place. Like it doesn't have to just be about wins and losses, X's and O's. And I know there's people in the Sharks franchise and every franchise that do work on, outreach and stuff like that. But I think it just has to be a bigger part of the equation because it's so important, right? Like if your stadium's empty, why don't you give away tickets to underserved people, right? If your attendance is so poor, like get some people from the community to these games that might have never experienced hockey. Like give away tickets. Like what's going on? Like why not? I don't understand. It puzzles me, right? I mean, I've been watching the Sharks games. There's not a lot of people in the stands. It happened, right? The Warriors are good. You're competing against that, right? You're competing against everyone else in town. But why don't you try to answer those questions in unique ways, right? It's puzzling, right? It's puzzling, and sometimes it feels easy, but I don't know. I mean, hockey's an old boys club, right? And obviously that's where the root of it is comes from. They grew up playing hockey in Canada, where the ice freezes over and you can just go skate. That is pretty accessible. I'm not gonna lie. If I was in Canada, maybe all of us would have a closer experience with hockey because you just need skates and you could play anywhere. But here in the states, in warm weather places, it's a little different. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just try to run our nonprofit, have fun, and maybe the league will call one day.
Here in California, I think we should invent hockey on the beach.
I know, right? There's something called pro beach hockey. So, like in the '90s, roller hockey, they played on the beach, and it was really fun.
I mean, like in the sand, play
Ooh, I
on the
know.
beach.
Kind of like
I
field
don't know.
hockey, beach volleyball meets hockey, right? Like something
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
So, how do you manage to stay a diehard Sharks fan in Stars territory?
It's tough. I mean, over the years, my experience with keeping up with the Sharks were I did the not so legal streams, and then I got like NHL.TV and ESPN Plus. So yeah, I've always kept up with the team. My whole family wasn't really hockey people, and then I got into hockey, so I got my whole family into hockey. So if the Sharks are good, they'll be keeping up. There's actually a couple people down here that are from the Bay Area. There's some Sharks fans here, but no one's like diehards like me. Um, I mean, I'm on the Reddit, I'm on the Twitter pages. Like, I'm obsessed, right? Obviously, but um, yeah, no, I've been able to stay a Sharks fan. When the Sharks are in Dallas, every few years I'll go catch them, make the drive to go see the team. The first year of the Golden Knights, when the Sharks and the Knights met in the playoffs, I flew out there to catch a playoff game. That was when I had my first full time job, so I spent my check on that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. That was my first time seeing a playoff game. The playoffs are fun. We lost that game in overtime, but it was a lot of fun. Um, I think, to be honest, what's kept me such a fan of the NHL, especially when the Sharks started to kind of exit their cup windows, was I started to become a fan of the league in general. I love to see young players break in. I love to watch, the prospects.
Oh
Hey, sorry,
no! You left us on a cliffhanger.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, um, and my girlfriend's like, "Hey, are you ever going to come eat with us?" But I have a few more minutes. What was the last thing you heard?
Oh gosh, we were just talking about being safe when you go out to your girlfriend was saying reservations about going to a away game if you guys went up to Dallas.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, sports fans are a little nuts. I mean, a lot of people I know are Mexican, and there's like violence in the stadium. My girlfriend is from Argentina. There's violence in the stadium. It's like people just don't know how to chill at all, right? Like it's the same thing. Like some people can go out and have a drink of alcohol and have a good night, and some people are ready to go to war and crash their cars. It's like moderation, right? But yeah, no, that's rough to have an experience like that because then people are like, I don't want to do this. Like I'm good. It's yeah, those experiences can really stick with you. And speaking of that, it's just tough for those people that play the game at a high level, are black, and face racism. And it's like, man, like that's why this sport has these limitations. We need to work on it.
Yes.
Um, if you need to go shortly, we can move on to the final section that we had of the
Sure,
interview.
sure, yeah,
Okay.
let's.
All
Our
right.
fun questions.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
wait. First
they're
of
fun.
all, first of all, before we do that, can we get your thoughts on the new Sharks jersey?
Ooh,
Uh oh.
I don't know about the pants. The jersey's nice. The
Hmm.
jersey's nice. The pants. I think it needs like at least like a black line going down it to break up the teal and teal and teal and teal because it's my favorite color. I love it. It's a lot of teal, and then the helmet. I like them though. I mean, I think I'll just get used to them. I think the Sharks have always killed it with jerseys and jersey design, so I'll get used to it. Um, it's not my least favorite Sharks jersey, but all of the jerseys that they've had, I like them. It's just to various degrees. It's bold. I mean, I like them. I kind of want one. So, I mean, how can I complain? I want one, but I'm not gonna get the match.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'll say.
Okay, fun questions. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So best food or place, whatever, in the Rio Grande Valley that folks should know about or check out if they visit.
Oh man, this food is great down here. So it's Mexican food, but it's definitely like Tex-Mex is usually the flavor. It's not authentic, right? I know people from Mexico that complain, but I do not complain. You got to go somewhere and get a botana, right? A botana is my favorite thing. So it's like pretty much like nachos, but like loaded, right? Like fajita, which is grilled beef, grilled chicken. They'll give you tortillas that have cheese in them, so I guess quesadillas, chips. The best place to get them, like you can't walk outside without finding a place that serves this. Um, I guess let's say, well, like you can go to Taco Palenque and get the ponchos, which are like a smaller version of the botana. There's actually a place. This is a shout out. Zamoras on 23rd and Lark. That place is really good. They have good botanas at Zamoras. But yeah, you can't go wrong with getting Mexican food, getting tacos. Rodeo on Ware Road. This is like all my neck of the woods, Northwest McAllen. Yeah, yeah, those are some great places, great food.
Do you personally have a favorite dish to cook?
Favorite dish to cook. Yeah, okay, so one thing that my girlfriend's a really big fan of in the Tex-Mex theme is tostada. So tostada is just you get a tortilla and you let it fry, like over fry, so it becomes a tortilla chip. I mean, they sell them already as pretty much a tortilla chip. And then you could do refried beans, lettuce, tomato, onion, jalapeno, whatever your topping is. You could be vegetarian. You could put beef. You could put chicken, whatever you want. Tostadas are good. They're quick. I guess you could say they're healthy. I don't really care about that too much, but they're good. They're good. Tostadas, yeah, tostadas.
All right, and
They,
with that, we're so thankful again, Nate, for you to come on to our show and chat about what you're doing down there in South Texas, talk hockey with us because you're a diehard Sharks fan, and those are rare in my circle, even in the heart of San Jose. And just, I love talking hockey, and it was so much fun to talk with you.
yeah,
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 thanks for joining us.
of course, and we'll be in touch. I don't want to just do this and not
Mm-hmm.
talk to you. You guys are great folks, I can tell, and thank you for what you do. Having a space that's
All right, and with that, I am your host, Jay,
I'm Nessa. This
and we'll
is
see you
Nate.
in the next
Thanks.
episode. Take
Thanks, guys.
care.
Bye.